I'm coming. First of all, this is gonna be needed for later. You'll see why. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Also, can we check out my new setting? It's really not that much different. I'm just reverse of what I normally am. My husband's graciously set this up for me. It is so nice. Hold on, let me I'll do a little video of it from this side things. It's in the corner that I normally record in, so normally you see this in the background. Now it's not that way. This is basically a permanent setup, so when I'm ready to record, all I have to do is flip my chair around and press record, and I'm good to go. Well, I have to turn my lights too. As opposed to, normally I would literally have to set everything up every single time and then take it all down, and it was just a pain in the butt, and it was just harder to record, and I'm trying to get back into regular recordings. So, let's get going. If you hear anything in the background, my kids are playing and being crazy, that is just life with children. Now that I've gotten that out of the way. Why am I recording today? What are we talking about? My title will obviously explain this, but let's get started. I know this is kind of old news now in the JW world, but I was on vacation and didn't get a chance to do a video on it, so we're doing it today. Let's go. We are talking today about the new light, what the governing body has decided is acceptable and good for everyone to do now, and that is toasting. So let's have a little chat about this, shall we? Where are we going to start? For those of you, my subscribers that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, never have been Jehovah's Witnesses, you may be wondering what the big deal with this is, because I feel like every Extra W content creator has made a video at this point about this. But we, as Jehovah's Witnesses, were always told toasting, clinking glasses, cheersing, anything like that was unacceptable for a Christian to do, so we never did it. Did that leave for some awkward situations? Yes, it did. Let's talk about a few circumstances I encountered as a little Jehovah's Witness kid. I wasn't a kid, an adult. For one, my husband's grandmother was not a Jehovah's Witness, and when she would come visit, her and his grandfather would love to do a cheers or a toast. They would always, every meal, they were have their little martinis, they would say something, and we would all just have to stand there and remind them every time, oh, we don't do this. We don't toast. We don't say cheers. We don't clink glasses. It was always so ridiculous and uncomfortable. Another circumstance I ran into as a teenager was going to a worldly cousin's wedding, and they did the typical toasts, and I remember being there oh my gosh, this is so scary. This is terrible. I can't believe I'm having to sit here during this. So yeah, it never happened. My husband would go on business trips for his real estate that he was in, and that would happen sometimes. There would always be a cocktail night, and he said he ran into it so many times where it would be someone would get you a beer or get you a drink, and they'd try to cheers you, and it was I can't do that. So I wanted to do a video with my thoughts on this, as well as kind of a background of why it was not allowed and why this is such a big freaking deal that all of a sudden it's just yeah, it's cool, whatever. All right, so to begin, let's talk about why it was forbidden for so long. I want to read from their handy dandy little website. I hate when I have to get on Watchtower Online. It's so cringy, but here we go. In 2007, the most recent thing they talked about was a question from readers. I'm going to read this directly. I'll also have it on the screen. The Bible does not mention toasting, so why do Jehovah's Witnesses avoid sharing in toasts? So this is a really long one. I'm not reading it all. I'm just going to read some of it. So it starts off by talking about how toasting with wine glasses is a long-standing and widespread practice. People would clink glasses together to wish someone happiness, good life, or good health, a long life, etc. Others would share in that toast, basically in agreement, raising their glasses to whatever the person was saying. For many, this seems a harmless custom or social grace, but there are good reasons why Jehovah's Witnesses do not share in toasting. Okay, mind you, this is in 2007, so not that long ago. It goes into kind of the history of and customs that were that toasting came about. It talks about using wine in connection to religious acts. For instance, Baal worshippers would use wine. I don't know how this has anything to do with modern day toasting, but whatever. Toasting today may not be viewed by many as a religious gesture, But still, there are valid reasons that Christians do not share in toasting, which has a religious background. So toasting is a religious background. And even now can be viewed as asking heaven for a blessing, as it is seeking aid from supernatural forces. So there you go. Again, this is a really long question by readers, so I'm just not going to read it all, but that was their logic behind it. You're literally raising your glass heavenward and asking for supernatural forces to bless you. Yeah. Do you think anybody toasting today in modern day history thinks that? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Another thing they talk about is from the book, Keep Yourself in God's Love. There's a chapter on it about like customs, like worldly customs that Jehovah's Witnesses don't do, and toasting is one of them. Here we go. So it's talking about how toasting, a religious gesture, ? A common practice at weddings and other social occasions is toasting. Toasting is probably a secular vestige of ancient sacrificial libations in which a sacred liquid was offered to the gods in exchange for a wish, a prayer, summarized in the words of long life or to your health. True, many people may not consciously view toasting as a religious or superstitious gesture. Still, the custom of lifting a wine glass to heavenward might be viewed as a request to heaven, a superhuman force for a blessing in a way that does not accord with that outlined in the scriptures. Okay, so long story short again, you're asking heaven for some supernatural power to bless you. All right. So that is why for decades upon decades upon decades, toasting has been unacceptable. And as a Jehovah's Witness, if you were ever in a situation where it was happening, you had to be the awkward person that just stand there and like act like you weren't listening and not holding a glass or anything. It's so crazy. With that being said, I want to talk about, I already kind of covered the few times I've experienced it as a Jehovah's Witness. It was not a common thing you had to run into. And let's be real, as a Jehovah's Witness, were you not supposed to like avoid worldly people and being around bad association, aka anybody in the world? So in my head, I'm thinking, really, how often did a Jehovah's Witness have to be in a situation where this was happening? Probably very minimal times in their lives. Sure, people have worldly family members, or they have work meetings or work dinners they go to, but I can promise you the vast majority of Jehovah's Witnesses like never encountered this. So why is this such a big deal that this change came about? Well, for many reasons. I have many thoughts on this and why this is just, one, so dumb that this is now being like, oh, it's fine, it's all good. But I also have some thoughts about like why this is happening and what this could possibly lead to. So let's talk a little bit more on this, shall we? To start off, this is so stupid and so crazy to me that this is now happening because, one, they have said for the last 20 years pretty much that we are in the final part of the very last seconds of the last days of the last days.
Like we're living in the final part of the last days, undoubtedly the final part of the final part of the last days, shortly before the last day of the last days.
They have been saying for 20 years, I mean, they've been saying this their whole time, but I feel like for the last 20 years specifically, it has been so like, this is the final seconds, this is it, we're in the last hours of the last seconds of the last day. Like, they have been saying this, and it's like, why does toasting even matter? If tomorrow Armageddon hits, like, why does this matter? They've had some new light changes in the last 2 years. We've discussed them on this channel before. But like beards, women wearing pants, not having to wear ties, now toasting, like, why does any of this matter in the grand scheme of things if the end is coming tomorrow or later today? Why does this matter? It is such a minor thing that literally doesn't affect anybody's life in any way, and yet they're making these changes. And you know what does affect people's lives? Shunning, disfellowshipping, having to disassociate to get your name clear from this religion. That's something major. Why are there no changes with that? Even better, why are there no changes with the no blood doctrine? People are literally dying every day because you're telling your members you can't have blood transfusions. To me, that's a lot more important than toasting and clinking glasses and having a beard and wearing pants at a meeting. It's insane to me that these little minor things are happening, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad they're happening. I'm hoping these things make people take a step back for once and go, why are we listening to these men if they can just change like that? Imagine with me for a second, you were at a worldly family member's wedding very recently. And I mean, we were at a wedding July 4th. We went to my husband's dad's wedding and his longtime girlfriend. They did the toasts where people were like saying stuff about them and things they loved about them. And it was like, I think 4 or 5 people said something. Lance even said something. And it was like, it's a beautiful, to me, it's beautiful because you're getting to like tell these people how you feel with other people witnessing that. Imagine we were Jehovah's Witnesses. We would have had to awkwardly stand there. We would have had to discuss with our children why we couldn't do it. And then the next day, the governing body update comes out and all of a sudden it's okay. Then what do I say? Then I have to go to my children who are little like sponges and take everything in. Like, remember what we said yesterday that we can't do this? We can now. Like, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. I know I said it's like summoning demons, but it's really not. I was joking. I was lying. Like, it's so insane to me. So I really hope somebody, even like 1 or 2 people, start questioning more because they're like, this seems strange. The way it was worded even more so. I will include a clip of this.
Another example is toasting or clinking glasses. For years, Jehovah's Witnesses have avoided this practice because it may have had origins in false religion. However, now, in most places, toasting or clinking glasses no longer has any religious association. It is viewed simply as a friendly custom. Therefore, after prayerful consideration, the governing body has concluded that there is no need to make a rule regarding toasting and clinking glasses.
Stephen Lett, one of the governing body members, literally goes, after prayerful consideration, the governing body has decided that now you can use your conscience on this and decide when it's appropriate or not to do. Why was it never that way? You have you have in your articles exactly what toasting came from. So why could people not just use their conscience and use their mind themselves to think for themselves for the last 100 years or however long this no toasting thing has been around? It's just crazy, and it just shows how controlling the governing body is with their members. And literally all it takes is for them to sit there and go, oh, you can do this now. And everybody is just cheersing away and happy, or growing a beard or wearing pants. Why couldn't you use your conscience yesterday to do that yourself? It's just mind-boggling to see the amount of control the governing body has on their members. So there's kind of my initial thoughts. When this came out, we were on our trip, and I was like, you will not believe. I remember looking at it, and I showed Lance, and I'm like, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. My husband and his brother used to jokingly toast each other at like family dinners to upset their mom. Because she'd be like, oh, we can't do that. Don't do that. We don't do that. We can't do that. Like, she would literally have like a freak out moment. And it's like, now, they're probably, I'm sure especially them, because they love to drink, they probably that night were out having a family dinner toasting each other. It's crazy to me. Okay, so in the update as well, Stephen Lett talks about how like the reason for this change is because it's like more socially acceptable, and people, the pagan origins, and people don't view it with that way or as a religious like origin with it. So now it's okay. But I mean, the origins are still the origins. So why are you changing now? It's crazy. If you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, start using your mind. Start critically thinking for yourself. Why are you letting men tell you what you can and cannot do? The fact that the governing body in these recent decisions have all said, we have decided, the governing body has decided, to me is this very minor way of them showing their followers, and their organization that they are truly the ones in charge. God is not backing this. They're not looking to God for this. They've decided this. God doesn't change. Why would all of these changes need to be happening if God doesn't change? Why was it just not something from the very beginning? The same can be said about everything that has come about with this organization. If blood was so wrong, then why all of a sudden our blood fractions are okay when that happened? If it was an absolute no, it should be an absolute no for the rest of your life. But they keep making these changes because they are a cult. I swear it's because they just want to show the power they have over these people. But it's also coming from a place of outside pressure. They're trying to look more normal. They're trying to not look so culty and psycho. They're trying to be like, yeah, we can do that. We can have beards now. We can go clean glasses. It doesn't make any sense. If you are truly following God, these changes wouldn't need to be happening. You would just be doing your best to do exactly what he's asked you to do in the Bible. And you know what he's asked you to do? Have a relationship with him. Use Jesus as your mediator to be a good person. What are the golden rules? Love your neighbors yourself and love God. Pretty sure those are like the most important things you do. These minor things, clinking glasses, should not matter. Especially if you were in the final part of the last seconds of the last moments of the system of things. If you want to make those changes when you go to paradise, then maybe there's new scrolls open that are like, you could party, you could clean glasses. Why does it matter now? Why does it matter now? Okay. Again, going back to like, why are these changes happening? The beards, the pants, the clinking of glasses, the, like all these little like outside appearance things. Why? Why does that matter? Do you want to know why? Most likely because they don't want to look extreme. They're tired of being called a cult. And I think they're trying to also be like, for those that speak out and call them a cult, I think they're like, no, look at us. We're normal. We're not extreme like that. Okay. It seems to be a desire to appear more mainstream. I've joked about this in other videos talking about Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's like JW Light now. Like, they are trying so hard to fit in with all these other denominations that are more relaxed and more kind of go with the flow. Like, we're cool. We're in mainstream. It's not a big deal. But you can't hide who you really are deep down inside. In Jehovah's Witnesses, your organization is run by cult leaders that literally just love control. To the point of them asking people to risk their lives by not taking blood. Which again has no biblical backing if you actually look at the Bible. So let's talk about what these changes, I kind of discussed this already, but what do these changes really show about the Jehovah's Witnesses? Again, this is showing you as clear as night and day that this is a human-made, man-made religion who are just making up rules because they can make up rules. All they have to do is slap a little sticker on it that says, we have Jehovah guiding us, so you have to listen to us. I think another thing is it shows that they can just change their mind overnight and no one is going to question it. I'm going to jump into now like why I think this is happening because it goes along with that. I strongly feel this is the precursor to much bigger changes coming. And in my head, number one, I think it's going to be birthdays. I know a lot of other XJWs believe this as well. But there are no true pagan background to birthdays. They claim we don't celebrate birthdays because the only examples in the Bible end badly or pagan things were happening at them. Okay. Well, toasting also had pagan origins as far as they're concerned, but they now shifted their mind because modern day people don't view those as even relating to toasting. Does anybody in the modern day look at a birthday and see anything pagan with it? Absolutely not. So I really, really strongly feel birthdays are coming. I think this was their way of like kind of warming up the organization to bigger changes happening. So birthdays, I can fully see that happening. I could even see them getting to a point where it's like, if it's a holiday that doesn't have nationalism behind it or like true religious backgrounds. So like Easter, Christmas, no brainer there. St. Patrick's Day, obviously that's for a saint. Halloween, obviously you're worshiping the devil with that one. So But I could see them changing to where it's like certain holidays are acceptable now. Thanksgiving. I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses pretty much in the United States celebrate Thanksgiving. The majority of them I know on Thanksgiving would make a turkey with their family. How is that any different than celebrating it? Mother's Day, Father's Day, like Grandparents' Day, like those little minor things that don't really have any religious connotation, I can promise you, are coming around to be like, it's a conscience matter. Birthdays, I could see them having still like some stipulations on it, like no huge parties because that's putting too much glory on yourself. But if you want to have like small gatherings with family to celebrate a birthday, that's okay. Like I can honestly see that happening, and I would not doubt if in the next year that's something that comes out. My gut tells me probably sooner. Like I could see it happening with the annual meeting where it's like the viewpoint of birthdays have changed so much that now the governing body, after prayerful consideration, has decided that we no longer have to avoid them. If that happens, my husband has already said he is going to struggle with not going and knocking on his parents' door, because that is a huge change. Think about as a child in this organization how horrible it was to be the kid sitting out in the hallway or being told to go to the library during a birthday celebration. And then all of a sudden, it's all good. It's fine. Whatever. Like that's a big freaking deal, and I can promise you it's coming. This toasting thing may seem minor, but there are bigger things on the horizon that this is just the precursor to. They're testing the water right now. They're seeing how the reaction is, and it's going to continue. The beards were the same thing. Honestly, I think beards and pants happened to distract from the huge doctrinal change they had with repentance at the last minute. I don't know if we've talked much about that, but I think I did in the like when I was talking about New Light. But I feel like so many have glossed over that. On TikTok, there was some man who was like, he wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. He was just somebody like saying like, prove to me that the Trinity isn't real or something along that line. And there were Jehovah's Witnesses coming on there. Like he had like where you can have guests, and there was like 3 or 4 Jehovah's Witnesses like spewing their BS about the Trinity. And my husband actually joined the live and was just like, I just want, because they were like, I don't know if you've experienced any TikTok Jehovah's Witnesses, but they are mouthy and they talk over people, and they're very, very nasty, like the way they talk to people. So anyways, my husband like hopped onto it and was just like, hey, I just want you to know like who you're dealing with is like cult people that are like extremely rude, and they're not going to listen to a thing, and just trying to help this guy like kick them out of here. They don't need to be on this live. Anyways, long story short, my husband started talking about like one of the changes they had with this gentleman, and was talking about like they have constantly changing doctrines. One of the biggest one recently was when Armageddon hits, people still have a chance to repent and to be saved. When in the past, it was always like they likened it to Noah's Ark. And once those doors closed, before the rain even started, you were done for. So it's kind of like once Armageddon hits, it's too late. Well, then the annual meeting of 2023 talked about how like that may not be true, and there will probably still be people that have a chance even after everything is happening, and they're seeing evidence of God. They will be able to go like, I'm so sorry, Jehovah, please forgive me, I repent, and can be saved. This is a long-winded story, I'm sorry, but my reason for this is because people in that live were like, that's not true, that is not true, that is not our thinking at all, you're wrong. And he's like, it's literally in the annual meeting of the October 2023. Like, you need to look that up. So I'm saying all of this. Wow, sorry, I'm distracted. I'm saying all of this because the beards, the pants thing came out like, I think only a month or so after that. I don't remember. But it was almost like it was a distraction from this ginormous doctrinal change from the Bible that they made a change to. And it was like everyone forgot about that. They forgot about the fact that they kind of changed what they were saying happened in the Bible and how they misinterpreted it, pretty much. So, my point being, I'm sorry, you guys. I am a rambling tangent person, and I get distracted, and I'm sorry. Okay. But my point for bringing that whole thing up. So, these little minor stupid changes, like beards and pants, toasting, whatever else is coming down the road, I feel like our distractions from bigger things that they're changing in the Bible. So like the repentance thing in the last moments. How pretty much now anyone can be saved. I could get saved. If Armageddon hits tomorrow and I'm seeing all this stuff happening, these supernatural things happening, I can drop to my knees and go, oh my gosh, Jehovah, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was led astray, and I'll be saved. When they think like I'm a goner, I'm done for at this point in life. So anyways, bigger changes are coming. That's where I'm going with all this. Bigger changes are coming. And I think that it is going to be something pretty big, like birthdays or holidays or these things that are like, have been so big and have affected people's lives so much that these kind of little stupid things are like a distraction. Like, oh, look at over here though. You can have a beard. You can clink glasses. Like, sorry, we ruined lives for decades, but it's okay because now you can clink glasses. That's where I was going with that. So to conclude, I've been rambling a lot. I just really hope that this helps even one person take a step back and go, something else is going on here. Like, these men have too much control over every aspect of your life. These are not just men here trying to guide us to a relationship with God. First of all, you don't need men for a relationship with God. He literally says, you just have to believe in Jesus' sacrifice and you can have a relationship with me. There's nothing else in there about having to follow men's roles in governing body. In fact, there's a lot of scriptures out there that talk about the reverse. And if you have men laying out stuff outside of the Bible as rules and regulations, guess what those are called? Pharisees and Sadducees. So maybe you should think a little bit. I feel like it just shows the disconnect that these men running this organization have. They don't realize the damage that they have done with even alone the way they handle child abuse, CSA. To me, why is your focus not there? Why are you not praying to God? How do we fix these issues? How do we fix the issues of shunning that are literally making people take their lives? How do we protect children, not just within the congregation, but every child outside in the world? When you handle that stuff internally, talking about CSA specifically, you are not only protecting the pervert, the pedophile, the man, the woman, whoever it might be. You are not protecting children. You are not protecting the children around that person that they may encounter, whether it's in their neighborhood or someone in the store. Like, you are showing you have no care at all for lives that are more important than a single person who is a pervert and who should be in jail. And you're also more concerned about your appearance to the public, which is disgusting. So to me, they should be focusing on the changes that matter, and that is where they matter. Protecting people from people like that who are predators. You know, actually abiding by what they say in court when they say, we don't shun. Normal family relationships can continue. It's a personal matter. It's a personal choice. It's a conscience matter whether somebody wants to continue to have family relations with somebody who is disfellowshipped or leaves. That's BS. We know that's BS. It's literally like mandatory shunning is very well known within the congregation. I don't think the congregation actually knows they've said that in court. So why aren't you making changes there? That matters more than toasting a freaking glass at a dinner or at a wedding. Like, what the hell? I would love to know your thoughts on this change. Again, it seems like if you're watching this as a non-Jehovah's Witness, you're probably like, or like never been a Jehovah's Witness, you're like, why is this such a big deal? I hope I kind of explained why it is a big deal. It's just shining light on bigger underlying issues within this organization. But give me your thoughts. Drop your thoughts below. And to finish off, I told you I was going to be using this later. Hold, please. I got my nails done before our trip, and I'm not used to having acrylics on. Okay, so here we go. I had to get something bubbly because I couldn't just put water in here. It didn't feel right. So for the sake of this video, we're going to pretend this is not a sparkling water. But I had the funny idea to finish off this video with some ideas. If you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, here's an idea or two for a toast you can propose at your next congregation get together or dinner with some friends, okay? I'd like to propose a toast. Cheers to shunning our family members and loved ones. Let's hope this form of abuse wrecks them so bad mentally that they have to come crawling back to the organization purely to just get some love. Cheers. I have another one though. I have another one. We ready? Okay. Everyone raise your glasses, please. Let's have a toast. I gotta read this one because I wrote this one out, okay? Cheers to living in the last of the last days, undoubtedly the final seconds of the final hours of the final days. May all the people who have called out this religion perish in some horrible way, just so we can say, we told you so. Cheers. With that being said, I'm done. Those are the two I came up with. Again, I want you to like drop your comments below. Tell me your thoughts on this change. Tell me your speculations or your conspiracy theories as why this is coming about, because I strongly feel this is leading to something bigger coming. And I do think that's probably going to be birthdays, maybe minor holidays that have no religious background or anything are going to be like, it's a conscience matter if you want to celebrate it. That's my thoughts on it. And that's how I feel about it. And I hope, my gosh, every time these changes happen, I'm like, can this please shake some people? Can this please make people go like, okay, maybe we are following men's rules and not God. Because that's what they're doing. So there we go. I hope you enjoy this video. As always, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, and click that bell so you are notified when I do put out a video, because we all know it's not super regular right now. And let me know what you want to talk about next. With that being said, I had some ideas and I'm going to throw those out there. So keep an eye out for them. First of all, I asked this in my post on YouTube yesterday for some of your favorite like content creators, mostly TikTok is where I'm looking, but I'm also looking everywhere. I want to start interviewing some female XJW TikTokers, and I have talked already to a few of them. I'm going to line some dates up to do a recording with them. But I was thinking mostly for like TikTok, because the majority of those people that are posting there are not on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube and not on TikTok, you don't know that these people even exist. I want them to get their story and their voices out there even more. There are some who just have some of the best talking points that like I have never even thought about. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do like a little series on that. But I think it's going to be fun to like just interview some women that are getting their voices out there, because I've talked about this in the past. Like, as a Jehovah's Witness female, you are supposed to be this humble, mild, meek little mouse of a person and not really put your opinion out there that often. And it's nice to find your voice when you leave and to be able to do this kind of stuff where you are blasting your opinions and your thoughts on this cult to the world. So that's something coming up I'm very excited about. So if you have anybody you would like to see me talk with, please let me know. Or if you are somebody who wants to share your story, let me know. Like, we will coordinate. Like, send a message on one of my social media platforms, or my Linktree has an email that you can send something to. But there we go. That's my thoughts. That's what's coming up. Comment below your thoughts on the toasting rule, what your speculations are, why this happened. Give me some good Jehovah's Witness toast below, some funny ones. I would love to see that. I want to laugh a little bit. And then also let me know if you have anybody you'd like to see on my channel, or if you want to be on my channel. Let me know. I'd love to interview you. Also, if you have not seen, I did start a private Facebook group called Alissa's Besties. I have about like 30 some members right now, and it's like women and moms who have left the organization or who want to support those who have left the organization, and so far the group has been phenomenal. So if you want to join that, I will also include that link in the description. It's super casual, like nothing crazy. It's just a place for us to like chat and connect and like learn about each other, and hopefully eventually like there'll be people near you can connect with in person. So there you go. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Oh wait, before I end, also leave a comment below if you like my new setup, to thank my husband for doing all of this, because he's amazing. I couldn't have done it without him. And now hopefully I can get more content out more regularly, because I have kind of a little studio set up. That's all. Okay. Have a great one, guys. And I'll see you guys next time.